Welcome back to Blurred Summits. Today we are going to talk about how to stop caring about what other people think. We're going to give you guys 5 solid tips about how to stop caring. Run us through them, Hudson.
Well, first, let's talk about why people really care what others think, right?
Okay.
Like, everyone's looking for that kind of self-esteem boost, that looking for approval from other people. So everyone's always so concerned about, I need this person to like what I'm thinking. I need this person to approve of what I'm doing.
We're all simps for each other.
Yeah. When in reality, everyone's always trying to get approval and please everyone around them, right?
Right.
And you can't do that. There's always going to be someone hating on you.
Why can't you do that?
What?
Why can't you always seek other people's approval and like...
Well, I mean, you can always seek others' approval, but not everyone's always going to approve. I mean, it's a waste of time because sure, you can do your best, but sometimes there's some people who's either their standards or there's something about them they're never going to agree with what you're doing, right?
I also think it's probably self-destructive because if you care a lot about what other people think, then people respect you less. Or like if you're desperate for other people's approval, then people respect you less, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I would say. So you probably don't want to do that. It's a bad plan.
Yeah, well, obviously, when you're seeking people's approval, you're going to take a lot of yourself away to get their approval.
Exactly. And if you pedestalize the other people and you try to chase after them, then inherently you're putting yourself at a lower position.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So you're basically pedestalizing other people and you're making yourself kind of
you're devaluing yourself.
You're devaluing yourself. Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
So now that we kind of covered that, let's jump into the big 5 tips we got for today. So the first one is know your values. So basically, know what you're going for. Know what is really, really important to you. Basically, know your goals in life and stick to those. Don't, when you have these things planned out, write them down. Know them in the back of your hand. Know them like the back of your hand. Have them somewhere where you have them at all times.
Yeah.
And then you can stop. Then the thoughts and opinions of other people's will inherently decrease because you know what you need. You know what you're looking for, right? Have you done this in the past where you sort of had these goals and then you've kind of been like, okay, I don't really need to care about the opinion of others because I know what I need to do in life.
No, I have a close friend of mine, Yannick, who...
I still don't think he exists.
But one of his big things that he says is he has your non-negotiable values, right? He says, line up the things from most important to relatively important. And these are things that it does not matter if, they're going to tell you, well, we're going to kill you tomorrow, right? If you don't change these. These are non-negotiable. It does not matter who I meet. It could be a president, a celebrity. It doesn't matter. These are who make me who I am. Yep. And I will not, for any person, any project or anything in the world, change for these things. And if you have these non-negotiable values, then it helps to clear up the fuzz in your head, right? You're very set on who you are and you feel very strongly about what you believe.
It clears up the fuzz. It stops the pressure of other people's opinions on you.
Yeah.
And it gives you purpose.
Yeah.
So in reality, I think that's kind of like a win-win, right? Or win-win-win.
And truth be told is this, I've realized in the past, is that if you bend your beliefs to the will of the group that you're in, basically if you succumb to peer pressure and change who you are, then people don't respect you as much, as we mentioned.
Yep.
And when you oppose someone, let's say you stand true to your beliefs and this opposes somebody else's belief, that person actually respects you more. They end up respecting you more for believing in something.
They expect you for, standing up for what you believe in.
Yeah.
Keeping you accountable for...
right? For having a spine.
Yeah.
Exactly. You don't want to be
it's
spineless.
it's why do I bother having this person if all they're going to do is basically agree with everything? You're just a glorified yes man at that point.
You need people in your life who provide a bit of tension or clashing with your ideals to test you and to make sure that you are being as best of a person as you can be. Yeah. So the same goes for the people who you know. If you help to push them and to grow them as well, that's something that's appreciated when it's done in the right way. But if you're always bending to their will and just following them around, then you're not even helping them grow. So they don't want you in their life either.
Yeah, exactly. I think you got that spot on there. So the next one here is nobody really cares, right? So say you meet someone for the first time. You might be a bit self-conscious about yourself, maybe something you said, you're like, oh, maybe I didn't say that right, all these other things. Odds are the other person's having these same thoughts, right? And in that interaction, if you're both having the same thoughts, what is the point of really caring about those thoughts? Yeah. Everyone has their own things they're kind of self-conscious about, concerned about. So why worry about them if everyone's in the same place?
My English teacher back in grade 10, Miss Lee, she said, oh man, I remember this so well. We were all standing, it was a project, and we needed to like give a presentation or whatever. She sits in front of the class right before we start our presentations, and she's like, hey guys, I just want to kind of remind you that you guys don't have to be worried about this presentation because truth be told, nobody cares. Yeah. And everyone in the class, we're all like just grade 10 students. We're all like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Nobody cares. She sort of explains it. And basically what she's saying is, we have all been in positions where you're like the next person up in the class presentation, Yep. And 100% when you're the next person up, or you're going to be going up 3 presentations now, you are not listening to a single thing that the people in front of you are saying.
Exactly.
You're not listening to anything that they're saying, and you're just thinking about what your own presentation's like. And she said, this is very representative of what the real world is like.
Oh, spot on.
You believe that even when you're in a presentation, literally all eyes are on you, even in that moment, everyone's thinking about themselves. Yep. So think about your day-to-day life. When not all eyes are on you, you're just going about your day. You think people genuinely care? They're even going to remember anything?
Yeah, it's like you say something, you're like, oh, maybe that was dumb, or you trip or something. Get self-conscious. It's like no one's just paying attention to that. You're just kind of caught in your head, right?
Anything. Yeah.
Someone walked by, it's like, oh, someone fell. Okay. And then they just go on with their thing. No one really gets too caught up on these little things. So why worry about those things and let those bog you down, right? Like it doesn't really make any sense. Like obviously in the moment you think, okay, people might be looking at me, but when you take that outside perspective back, it makes it super clear that no one really is.
Yeah, and truth be told, like if you do something really embarrassing, people might see it and remember it for a day or 2 days or maybe 3 days. Maybe they'll remember it for a year or two. But eventually, they're either going to leave your life and you're never going to see them again, or they're just going to be like, oh, completely forgot that even happened.
Well, even if they have it in the back, how does that impact you?
It doesn't.
Exactly.
Bingo.
So why would you let it impact you?
Yeah.
Don't get caught up on that. So the next one here is surround yourself with pros. So basically surround yourself with people who are kind of self-assured and don't compromise their core values, like you said with your friend Yannick, right? Or if everyone has those values and they stick true to who they truly are, it'll allow you to do the same thing. Like if you're around a group of people who say, kind of bend around just so then everyone's in agreement with whatever it is, even though maybe 1 out of a group of 5 people actually agree with what the value is. There's no point in being with that group because you're not getting any improvement from it. Yeah. But if you're in a group of 6 people, everyone has their true values. Maybe there's some more arguments, more debates, but everyone's sticking true to who they really are. Yeah. And therefore everyone can grow and be a better version of who they actually are as a person, right?
And I think that something that has been lost in translation throughout the years is that just because something's a challenge doesn't mean that it's bad. So when somebody's challenging your ideas, that doesn't mean that they're attacking you as an individual, right? And that if you don't agree with someone and there is a clash between 2 thoughts, doesn't mean that these 2 thoughts can't coexist with one another, right? And I think that's something over the years is that if we're not in complete agreement over every single thing, then that's bad.
Yeah. That's kind of the world we've kind of turned into, right?
Which is like a shame.
If you question what someone's thing is, they think whenever you question it that they think you're attacking them. When all you're doing, oftentimes you're just asking for some clarity. You're just asking for them to kind of clear up what they're actually trying to get at, right? It's not an attack on you as a person.
Yeah, and what oftentimes happens is that because we see challenges to our thoughts as attacks, we automatically become very defensive over it, and we begin to defend something. Maybe I don't even completely agree with it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to defend it till I die because that's just what I'm going to do.
Well, it feels like it's an attack on your character.
Exactly.
So you think if I lose this debate, then my character's getting attacked.
And so changing your ideas is not a particularly bad thing. But anyways, that's a bit of a tangent. But
yeah, doing that will let you kind of stay true to yourself. And then you'll stop being, it's like, okay, if everyone's kind of doing the same thing, who cares what someone else thinks, right? Then I guess if your friends do that, it'll rub off on you. And then you'll be this group of people who don't really care about the opinions of others, which when it comes down to it is a good thing, because then you're not getting caught up on these thoughts that don't really mean much.
Right.
So the next one here is you want to create a growth list. So what a growth list is, it's basically you make a list of things comprised that you feel are uncomfortable doing. It could be taking like a freezing cold shower, running, cooking, talking to like a new person, basically something simple like that. Put it all in a list and then slowly go one by one, work through that list. When you're doing the first thing, you might hear these thoughts in your head being like, oh no, you can't do this. It won't be good, whatever. But then you force yourself to do it anyways. When you force yourself to do it, you get through it. It's like, oh, those thoughts really didn't, they just tried to stop me for no reason. It wasn't as bad as I thought. Go to the next one. The thoughts will usually be a little bit quieter than they were the first time. And slowly but surely, those doubts in your mind will just disappear, right? They'll go away. You can train yourself to stop these like awkward thoughts in your head, overthinking things. And through doing that, it'll get you to be able to push your boundaries, have these thoughts. It's like, okay, who cares what someone else thinks? I've fought through that. It doesn't matter.
One of the interesting thoughts that I think is one of those doubtful thoughts that is the most deceiving in my personal experience is the thought of, I never wanted this in the first place. Like, so for example, a doubtful thought isn't just like, oh, I can't do it. It's the thought of, I don't even want to do it. You know what I'm saying? And what it turns out into is that I never even really wanted this in the first place. I don't actually even want this. And that's just using it as an excuse to basically get yourself out of jail free.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's just one to really be careful of that I've found in the past. Is definitely the most, sneaky.
Well, yeah, I think with creating this list, right, actions kind of speak louder than words. Like you can only read so many books about, hey, you'll be fine, don't worry about your thoughts, all this other thing. But until you actually do it, you won't be able to implement it into your life, right? So through doing this list, you'll be able to kind of really see the change in yourself, right? If you're really introspective on yourself.
Yeah.
Or is that interest? Yeah, whatever. You'll be able to look in on yourself and be like, oh, wait, my thoughts are kind of going away. These negative thoughts aren't showing up as often as I thought they used to be. Right?
Yeah, and if anything, the reason that you should be doing this list is not because you want to do the activities that's on the list.
Exactly.
It's because you want to train yourself to be comfortable in uncomfortable environments.
That, and then, train your brain to block out these intrusive thoughts that really don't have any value in your life, right? Like, that translates to when someone says something bad about you, right? It's like, your brain just doesn't even go there anymore.
Right.
Like that, right? Like, talking to a new person, oh no, this is going to be really uncomfortable. I'm not going to be able to do it. I don't really want to do it. Or
worse, I don't care. Like, for example, this is actually a thought that I had where I was like, I don't even want to talk to new people. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I know enough people now. I don't care to meet anyone new. But I realized, wait a second, this is an excuse, right? This is an excuse that you've created for yourself. Why? Because now you're scared to do it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so this is just basically letting you block those thoughts out. Oops. Yeah, just basically block them out. Let yourself grow as a person in the mental way through doing these kind of more physical, I guess, tasks that aren't really just training your brain, sitting down, thinking. And the last one here is, it's not you, it's them. So basically, especially on social media, people love to send out like hateful messages, comments, basically things putting doubts on other people, calling them out for things that really aren't worth calling out. And oftentimes that is people putting their own doubts and own insecurities about themselves onto other people to make themselves feel better. You'll notice this, even some of the best YouTube videos on the platform, there will be these hateful comments being like, oh, these people are so terrible, that was so bad, these people don't know what they're doing. Why? Not because the video is bad, because these people feel like, oh no, I'm nowhere near as good as this thing that they put out. I'll never be able to do that. So they're trying to make themselves feel better by compensating and hating on other people to kind of distract from themselves.
And, taking this a little bit more less, like if we take this a bit more personal to individual lives, we see this a ton with, let's say, for example, medicine. Like, I want to go into medicine, but what you'll realize is that people, when they hear this, they project their own insecurities about them not pursuing medicine when they wanted to. And you'll always hear the same things, which is they'll try to plant these seeds of doubt within you. Oh, is that really useful? Wait, is that really going to be good for you? Do you want to give that a second thought? Teachers do this a ton too.
Yeah.
This is a huge call out to a bunch of teachers in junior high and high school. And what they say to students is, hey, are you sure you want to be going to be a doctor, to be a lawyer, to be an engineer? Because, or are your parents just forcing you into this? I understand, sure, there's some students whose parents are forcing them into this, but they act like every damn person who wants to go into it, their parents are forcing them into it.
Well, yeah.
Right? And they say, are you sure that you really want to do that? Like, why do you really want to do? It's like, what are you talking about? Yes, I'm sure this is,
Yeah, I think the big one is when you're like studying for a big test or something. Someone says, oh, I'm doing really, really good on the practice test already. I'm going to do so good. How are you doing? I guarantee that person who's saying that stuff isn't doing anywhere near as good as they actually are. They really just want to put doubt on something like, oh, no, I'm not nowhere near where you are, to make themselves feel better, even though they are nowhere near confident for that test.
Yeah, and these are just projections of insecurity. People who say, oh, yeah, I studied 12, 15 hours. They didn't study that. I studied all day and night. I woke up. I studied for 17 hours a day. Like, okay.
Here, how long do you think they studied for? My money's on maybe 3 hours. Maybe?
Yeah.
Probably two.
Yeah, maybe 5. I would say probably
on
5.
On the upper end?
Yeah. Yeah, 5
so really,
hours.
all that is they're just trying to exaggerate it to make them feel better in comparison to this other person.
Exactly.
Even by lying.
Which is realistically an absolute projection of immense insecurity.
Oh, huge.
Right? Because what are you saying when you tell somebody that? Or I did phenomenal on this exam, right?
Oh, it's that one. It's like, hey, what did you get on this test?
Yeah. Like, with, for example, the MCAT, a lot of people will say, oh, I got like the 98th percentile. I got these amazing grades, all this stuff. When you tell a person this, the question that you should ask yourself is, what is the intention behind saying it?
They want to have someone feel broken down because they didn't do as good as that number that they told them.
Listen, the intention could genuinely be that I want to share this amazing moment with people that I love. Could be. Mm-hmm. Could be. But is that the case most of the time? That's the question. So it's really an introspective thing.
You can tell by the way that someone asks it usually or says it.
Well, truth be told, if they're a person that you never speak to and they come and tell you that, then it's
know, clear.
Right?
But like if it's someone you're close with, you can usually you can tell by the way they say it.
You can absolutely tell. And just maybe like right now we're talking about when other people do this to you. When you do it to other people, because we're not perfect. We all have, kinks in our armor. When you do it, ask yourself the question, why am I telling the person this? Mm-hmm. What am I looking for? Right? We're always looking for things. Am I looking for a compliment? Am I looking for some sort of validation? When I speak to a person, when I'm going to hang out with this person, why am I doing it? Right? Mm-hmm. Am I doing it? Where's my intention lying? Right?
Yeah.
And that's where all the sauce is. That's where all the importance is.
Yeah, I think that makes a good point there. And I think that wraps up all the points there today.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
Thanks, guys, for watching today's episodes of Blurred Summits. If you know, or if you can think of someone who might enjoy the content or some of the tips we mentioned today, please share it with them. And other than that, please leave a like on the video. If you guys want to check out some more of our content, we have our Instagram page and our 2 videos a week out on YouTube and on all podcast platforms.